Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Y.E.S, Youth Empowering the Streets, a collaborative effort between the city's Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force, Shortino Foundation, and Create TV San Jose. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Josh. On today's show, we'll be addressing the topic of youth homelessness, some of the causes, resources, and the relation this issue has with youth violence and crime.
Today we will be speaking to former homeless youth, representatives from EHC Life Builders, and Santa Clara County District Attorney.
Joining us today, we have Mario Canizales, who experienced homelessness himself.
Welcome, Mario.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about your experience. When did this all start, and how was it like when you were homeless?
Well, this started around 2 or 3 years ago. Things weren't really going too well with my family, and it was sort of leading to a really dysfunctional circle within my family. And I personally decided to opt out because I felt my mental health was better anywhere else where my house wasn't. So I decided to leave. And I think that's funny because most people, when they think of homelessness, when they think homeless people, when they even see them on the streets and stuff, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, drug addict, or oh, someone who just messed up their life, someone who, just really didn't take it seriously. Now they're paying the consequences. Like, everyone acts like that person deserved it, when truthfully, a lot of the times, if not most, the situation is out of their hands. I've met a lot of people like that. Like, just a quick side story. My friend Chaz was born into homelessness. His whole life he's been homeless with his mother, living under a bridge right here in San Jose's downtown. And I met him in a group home, actually, and you could tell that even though he was just like every other 13-year-old, there was something different about him. He knew what it was like out there. And me, when I first came out, when I first decided to leave my house, it was a big shock. Like, I didn't expect, most people have an idea what homelessness is. They have an idea, just just not having a place to sleep at night. But what it really means, it's something completely different. Like, you do stuff you never thought you'd do. You, like, at times, just to eat, you literally go through dumpsters and hope you'd find something that's edible, something you could eat, something, anything. And clothes, people always like, oh, where'd you get that new stuff? You kind of just shrug it off and you're like, oh, I got it here or there. But truthfully, you'd even pick it off the floor as long as it looks kind of in good condition. He's like, oh, look what I came up, this could really serve me. So a lot of things you get, can be right from the places people least expect them
Yeah.
from.
And I had another question. So, where were some places you stayed at during this time?
Well, back to my friend Chaz. I remember one night, particularly, I was wandering around the streets and I was really just looking for a place to sleep. It was around 2 a.m. and I happened to see him and I was like, Chaz, take me someplace. I really need to sleep, And he's all like, he looked at me and being an old friend, he's like, you know what? I'll let you stay in my tent tonight. And I was like, oh, that's really nice of you. So he actually led me to this bridge under this bridge, and I don't know, nothing could have ever prepared me for what I saw. Like, we went down this steep little rocky road, mountain. When we got there under the bridge, there was really tents everywhere. But not only was there tents, there was like art, there was decoration, there was forms of graffiti, there was like things like, I'd call it urban art, and like intertwined with like a sense of community and living with all these other homeless people that were all in the same situation. And you can tell they had some sort of system, and it was just so organized, and I was just so surprised, but at the same time I was just kind of relieved, kind of happy that at least there are like little places, people that feel like they don't belong anywhere can at least go and feel like they're together.
Yeah, definitely.
Some sense of community, and well, I remember seeing there, and I remember what I thought the whole night. Well, I'm like, so this is how, the other side lives, but there's one thing you're never prepared for. It's the cold at night. That's the one thing you're never, ever prepared for.
So,
like, you know it's going to be cold. You know it, but you know it's going to be really cold. Yeah. But until you're under there, until you're freezing under that bridge, you're just like, wow, this is really cold, Yeah. And not to mention, a lot of these places that they sleep, they're wet, they're damp, they're unsanitary, well, what other choice they have, So not only does that add to the coldness, the fact that there's cold, that there's water and there's dampness, but it's also uncomfortable. These tents, they're not set up on grass, they're set up on gravel, on dirt.
That's a really big challenge.
So I think that's one of the bigger things people don't really notice is the sleeping. Like, some people think, it's just a place to sleep, I'll be good in the day. But truly, that was probably the longest night of my life you know. It
And
was just,
what goes through your head while like this is all happening?
well, a big part of me was just really worrying, kind of like, this is where I've lived up, this is where I'm at, you know. And a lot of it kind of just turns into anxiety in your head, you know, because you're overthinking. You're like, God, you know, where did I go wrong? Should I be here? You start kind of thinking and doubting, and that's when all the little things you don't really appreciate when you're at home, all those little things start coming back to you. Like, that pair of sandals I threw away, wish I hadn't thrown them away now. You know, like, oh, that piece of bread that I always never liked. And I was like, God, I wish I had that piece of bread now.
So
You know?
throughout that experience, did you want help and did you seek help?
I personally myself, I'm kind of a very stubborn person, so I don't really like calling out for help, even though I know I need it. And I can say definitely that was a time when I needed it. And I did get help, but I never reached out for it. But something I noticed, that all the help I did got was from fellow homeless people just like myself. They all say, oh, you're new to this? Don't worry, you know, I'll teach you how to get food. Or, oh, don't worry, you need a blanket, I can get that for you, man. So I think it was really kind of astounding how they all really look out for each other. They really care for each other. And something that you really do learn in that situation is like, those homeless people, those people that look, you know, alrighty, they're people too. You know, it's like they all were baby clothes. You know those cute baby pictures? I don't think they're cute. Every single one of those homeless people was one of those. You know, everyone has a story. And like I said before, most of the time, well, I don't want to say most of the time, but at least a good portion of the time, it's not their fault. It's just things don't work out the way people expect them to, especially, you know, and nowadays, you know, you can't really seem to plan or get through anything. So
So for food, you said a lot of people look through dumpsters. What did you do? How did you eat, or how often did you eat?
well, we called it dumpster diving, of course, you know, appropriate name, I suppose. But something we do is, especially in really commercial areas where we knew there was a lot of restaurants. I don't know if you guys knew this, but restaurants like Panda Express and McDonald's, all the things they don't sell at the end of the day, they're forced to throw away, you know. So that's a lot of food, you know, that goes untouched. And I really, something also that astounded me is that these people, it's like, they know that people go through their trash cans and look for food. So something that I found so considerate, so nice of them, was that they actually put the food in closed boxes. So when you go through it, it's not in the trash can. You don't have to fix it. You know, just little things like that. It's just, they mean a lot. Because I mean, sort of, when you go dumpster diving, you hit a little box of food that's closed and it's clean. You feel like you hit the jackpot. Like, you're just like, yes, I got food, you know, this is it, you know, yeah, I got something good to eat tonight, you know. And it's like, sure, every other night can't be as good, but that little moment, you know, makes your day and just gets you by through, you know.
So Mario, tell us a little bit about how you got out of the streets and who helped you.
Well, to be honest, one of the major, like, help I received throughout was through the Bill Wilson Center, located over here in Santa Clara County. It was the Bill Wilson actually gave me a place to stay, gave me clean clothes, a chance to connect with people my age that were in similar, if not the exact same situation I was. Provided really a sense of home when I really felt that home was nowhere except the street corner, you know. So it was nice there. And another way I got out of it was finally getting the courage to deal with the things I never wanted to deal with, such as my issues with my family, talking through. If anything, I could say this whole experience, it really, well, in the words of Friedrich Nietzsche, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I really feel it really made me a lot stronger, because now I don't know, I just see things a whole differently now. Like, I definitely don't take for granted all the little things, you know, like toothpaste. God, I love toothpaste. So, you know, it really shows you to appreciate the little things, and it really just makes you stronger, because once you get through something like that, you know, anything else, if it's not a breeze, hell, at least you know you can make it through, you know.
How are you with your family now?
Well, we still have our issues every now and then, but definitely significantly better than before. I mean, before it was just chaotic, if it's kind of an understatement, really, but
Right.
it's better.
What advice can you give the youth that are in similar situations, and how does your experience shape who you are today?
Well, some advice I can give someone who was in a similar situation is definitely reach out, definitely help, definitely ask around. And even if you're stubborn, even if you don't want to admit you need help, truth is, everyone needs a helping hand every now and then, even when we don't want to admit it. So definitely ask, because you'll also be surprised to how many people you can relate to. Because a lot of people assume, oh, they're there to help. They assume that they're just someone who doesn't understand anything, and all they have is sympathy for you. But truly, if anything, most of them, all they have is empathy, because a lot of them have been in the same situation, if not really close to the one you're in right now. And it's something really surprising that you learn too, because you're like, wow, all these people have been through something that you feel a little less alone, and you feel like these people actually care, and it's not just a job for them.
Thank you very much. Now let's check out what students at Yerba Buena High School are doing to help combat homelessness.
YMCA? Check it out.
When I was 16.
Here we go.
You know what I was gonna do, Mr. Trent? Hello, my name's Charles Fowler. I'm a teacher at Yerba Buena High School. We're out here on Center and Keys Road with the free market that we've organized. It's their class project. It's their final, actually, project, and we're out here to give back to the needy, the homeless encampment. It started when young people started to see kind of the realities that some of the homeless folks are dealing with out here, and they wanted to take a stand and do something, and they wanted to directly give back. And so they organized in about 2 weeks enough donations to give back to at least over 200 people, that we're hoping to give back to, because we got a lot of donations. And they're all out here in full force, just really trying to give back.
And how does it make you feel as being a teacher?
As being a teacher, I mean, it's like, to me, this is the most practical and empowering thing I've seen like young people do with their ideas. They really have these ideas, these great, beautiful things about the world and why the world should be different, and they're just putting it into practice. And to me, it's four or five blocks from the school, and it gives them an opportunity to get their hands dirty and really make this community a better place for all people to live in.
I'm Christina Oriva, and we're out here on Center and Keys today at the free market for the homeless. And we went through a lot to do this, and it took us like probably a week, 2 weeks to do it, and we got like a lot of donations. And I think it's important to help the homeless because they're out here in the cold and the winter, and like there's nobody else doing anything about it. So we decided to do it, and like hopefully like they like use it well, and like we should do this more often. More people should be able to do this and to like care for them, because they're human beings as well, and like they're like us, so they shouldn't be treated as creatures or anything like that, because I don't believe in those words. They're human beings too, and they're not aliens. They need to be loved too, and they need a family and a home and a place to stay, and yeah.
How does it make you feel that you are out here helping the homeless?
To me, I don't know, like my heart feels like great. Like it felt like I like less stress on my shoulders, to be to able to help them, and yeah.
So there's also a homeless youth problem. What do you think about homeless? What do you think about homeless youth? How do you feel about that?
I think it's really sad because there's like the population has grown with like the 18 and under like kids and youth. So I think it's really sad, and somebody should do something about it. Yeah.
Thank you to all the students at Yerba Buena High School. They're so helpful for taking this time to come out and help the homeless and those who are in need at this cold time of the year. And where are you from?
Oh, Cham.
The Cham. Thank you. We want to thank everybody and the community for recognizing that there are those in need at this time of year where it's very cold. Thank you.
It feels very empowering as a youth here helping out in the streets, and you're watching Y.E.S. Back to the studio.
Welcome back to Y.E.S. We will now be speaking to a representative from EHC Life Builders, Angelica Niklowitz, and a youth from EHC, Elizabeth Arujo.
EHC Life Builders confronts homelessness by cultivating people's potential to get housed and stay housed. Angelica, how many of the people that come into EHC are youth?
Well, EHC runs, we have 7 sites that serve homeless. We're a large provider of homeless services in Santa Clara County. And one of our sites just focuses on transition age youth. So that's youth between the ages of 18 and 24. So we have a homeless shelter called Sobrato House in downtown San Jose, and we have an 8-bed shelter there. And we serve roughly 40 to 50 youth per year in the shelter.
Oh. So what are the main reasons that these youth come to you?
There's a lot of various reasons. Like your previous guest said, most of the reasons are a disconnection from family. A lot of youth, they've been disconnected with family for a long time, or they had a recent fight. A lot of times families just can't afford to support a youth once they turn 18, and some are just kicked out of the house, so they find themselves on the streets. Some are lucky enough to couch surf with friends or other relatives, but eventually they'll, sometimes end up with us and be able to stay in the shelter.
How does being homeless affect youth even after being homeless?
I mean, it's a traumatic experience for a youth to become homeless. I mean, it's rough on the streets. They're exposed to a lot of different elements living on the streets or being homeless, the things that they may not have been exposed to before. There's gang affiliation, substance abuse. There's a lot of things that have a negative impact on youth, and if they can find their way out, then that would be great, but it's really difficult. It's difficult to maintain a job when you're homeless.
Right.
If a youth has never been homeless before, they're having to learn all kinds of skills, all at once: how to survive on the streets, how to provide for themselves, how to find another place to live, because Sobrato House is an emergency shelter.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of want to stabilize the youth and help them to something more permanent.
So tell us, what kind of programs does EHC offer? What else do they do to help the homeless?
We offer case management services, so we have staff who work with the youth to help them find a job, help them find public benefits like food stamps or general assistance. If they're interested in going to school, we help them look for school, but most importantly is having them find a place to live. If they need another shelter to work with, then that could extend their help. Or, the idea would be for them to find permanent housing, but there's such a shortage of affordable housing in Santa Clara County right now.
So we know that EHC offers a lot of job and volunteer opportunities. How many of those opportunities go to the homeless youth?
We don't have a lot. We get a lot of donors who provide help. We have connections with Planned Parenthood, with San Jose State, and other local agencies that we partner with. So we don't have a lot of people who actually volunteer at the shelter. It's a very small shelter. It's more like a dorm setting, because our agency understands that a young person who's homeless, it's a more intimate setting than the larger shelters that serve over 100 people.
So Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about the circumstances that you were in that led to you becoming homeless, and what was the experience like?
It was more like a gang-related incident that happened at my house. There was a drive-by shooting, so I felt unsafe at my house, and I didn't want to be in that situation anymore, so I left and I came to Sobrato.
How did you hear about EHC, and what kind of services did you benefit from?
My social worker, because I grew up in foster care, so I had a social worker growing up, and she told me about all the different services that I was eligible for, so I heard about EHC through my social worker at the county building here in Santa Clara County.
How is that playing out in your life now?
It's good. It's a positive experience for me, because I'm not around the gangs, the violence, the drugs, all that negativity that leads people to go in jail or dead or whatever.
So how do you feel about youth being homeless? What are you doing to help prevent and address this issue?
Pretty much staying positive. I'm going to school, working. I got a job since I've been at Sobrato House, so that's a really positive thing for me, because I don't have to just do nothing with my day.
Angelica, if the youth wanted to get involved with EHC, how would they do that?
Probably the best thing is, are always in need of toiletries, clothing, socks, blankets, things like that, so like some kind of drive. We're also always looking for opportunities for people to come in and do workshops to kind of learn new experiences or learn new skills. So those would be some of the avenues to help us out.
So do you have any, how would someone contact you?
They can contact my staff, my desk phone at 408-539-2181. They could also go on to the website of EHC Life Builders, and there's a lot of volunteer opportunities or donation opportunities on the website as well.
So do you have certain sites or multiple or just one?
EHC has 7 sites. So we have the youth homeless shelter, we have a large adult shelter where they serve mostly chronically homeless, and then we have 2 emergency cold weather shelters that just opened a couple of weeks ago. And then we also serve families in transitional housing as well.
Do you have any advice you would like to give to the homeless youth right now?
Even though it's really difficult being homeless, it's really trying to stay focused and be positive and accept the help that is being offered to you if you're lucky enough to connect with services in the county that can help you kind of get back on your feet and back on track to be able to live on your own.
We'll be right back after this important PSA. Welcome back. To further discuss the issues of youth homelessness and what officials are doing to address this issue, we have Santa Clara County District Attorney Johnny Cepeda Gogo. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
According to statistics, Santa Clara County has 1,200 homeless youth under age 25, either in homeless shelters or on the street. About 50,000 youth in the U.S. sleep on the street for 6 months or more.
5,000 young people die every year because of assault, illness, or suicide while on the street. 1 in 7 young people between age 10 and 17 run away and live on the streets.
Attorney Cepeda Gogo, as a district attorney, you are also part of the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force. After hearing the youth speak about this issue of youth homelessness, what are your impressions and what will you take back to the task force?
Well, what I learned from listening to the young people here on your show today is that it's a very serious problem. And when I thought about homelessness, I really just thought about the adults that I see on the streets, either panhandling or sitting down at the corners or sleeping in bus stops or doorways. I really didn't think about homeless youth. And so I thank you guys for having this show because it's opened up my eyes to the issue. And now that I'm aware of it, I need to go out to the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force to help others realize that this is a very serious problem, the issue of homeless youth.
Is the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force, do they have anything on homeless youth, or what are you planning to take back to them?
So the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force is made up of a number of entities, the city, the county of Santa Clara, and then there's a number of community-based organizations. And so within those organizations, there are services for youth. You heard about the Sobrato house for some of the youth that are homeless. There's also the Bill Wilson Center. There's Catholic Charities. Homeless youth can also call the United Way at 211 to get information about how to help themselves with the issues of homeless youth. So there are a number of resources that are out there, but as you heard from one of the young men, sometimes the youth are stubborn and they don't want to reach out for help. And so I think the message to me and to the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force and to other providers is to make sure that we continually get out there on a consistent basis to offer the help to youth, because we're going to run into situations where young men and young women may not be willing to reach out to us and may not be willing to listen to us that first time around. But if we come around the second time or the third time or the fourth time, after the young men or young women have been sleeping out in the cold, maybe they'll listen and accept that helping hand.
How do you personally feel about this issue?
Oh, it's devastating because I work with a lot of the youth in our community, either through the truancy work that I do with the county, or we have a law-related education program through the DA's office where we work with fifth graders. And to think that the young people that you've had on your show today were at one time fifth graders in elementary school, and then maybe even in high school, to see that they are now, or at least experienced homeless in their young lives, it's really a tragedy and a travesty. And we need to do more in the city and in the county to help those young people get back on track and to be supporting themselves.
So what are some of the other things that the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force is addressing?
Well, obviously, homeless youth is one of the things that we probably need to concentrate on more, but other things that we work on, obviously, are providing services to help prevent young people from getting into gangs in the first place. And if they are in gangs, then hopefully we can provide some resources for them to transition out of the gangs. For example, what we do at the DA's office is also provide help to the parents, and we support the Parent Project out of the DA's office in partnership with the City of San Jose and primarily the San Jose Police Department, where we teach parents how to deal with issues like teenage gang, drugs and alcohol, runaways, suicides, those types of issues that a lot of the young people go through. We also have, again, the truancy program that deals with young people who are experiencing problems in school, to try and get them on the right path back to school, so that they can again be citizens that can support themselves.
Awesome. So now we would like to invite some questions from the audience to District Attorney.
Many counties and cities have moved towards policies and laws that criminalize homelessness, like the sit and lie laws or the recent law in Palo Alto, I believe, which criminalizes sleeping in cars. What makes Santa Clara County's policies and laws different?
Santa Clara County is also partnering with Housing 1000 to help families address the issues that they're facing and to primarily get them housed. And so there are a number of resources out there to try and help the homeless people find housing to address that first need.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that as a team and with the proper resources, we help minimize youth homelessness by addressing the underlying issues.
See you next time.
This has been Youth Empowering the Streets. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at YES_MGTPF. And like our Facebook at facebook.com/YouthEmpoweringTheStreets. Join us next time.